This self-portrait, called The Son of Man, was made by René Magritte, who was born in Belgium in 1898. In 1927, he and his wife moved to Paris, where he participated in the activities of the Surrealists and made many friends. He returned to Belgium in 1930, exhibiting his work throughout the world. René Magritte is considered to be one of the leading Surrealist painters. This self-portrait, painted in 1964, several years before his death, shows us several icons or symbols that he used in many of his paintings. A man in an overcoat and tie, wearing a bowler hat, is not really unusual. But to have the man's face hidden by a green apple is quite unexpected. The textured stone wall and the limitless space beyond are two other clues to the work of René Magritte. Notice the clear, sharp edges of everything in the picture, another indication of this artist's style. As we study this painting called Personal Values, we wonder if we are indoors or outside, because we see what we think is the real sky and objects on a floor, but it could be a wallpaper mural inside a room. And some of the furniture should be really large but appear small. And the comb, shaving brush, soap, match, and glass should be small but look large. Notice all the different textures. Where can you see the shadows cast by the objects? If those are mirror doors on the wardrobe, why does it seem like we're looking through them to the sky? When we are confronted with such problems of size and scale and inside-outside, we call the situation surreal, more than real. René Magritte said about this picture, "In front of a window, as seen from the interior of a room, I placed a picture that represented precisely the portion of landscape blotted out by the picture." The result for us, the viewers, is confusing, isn't it? But it is also very clear, and perhaps that is why the artist called this picture the human condition. This is probably the most famous of all of Magritte's pictures, where illusion and reality is questioned. What we humans see is not always what we think we see. As in all of Magritte's paintings, the frame of the window, the canvas on the easel, and the edge of the wall meeting the floor are all crisp and hard-edged. Here is a puzzle to solve. What exactly are we seeing here? At first glance, it appears to be a man, and the painting is called The Liberator. But the figure is an impossible one. It holds a cane in one hand and a candlestick in the other. But look closely, and you can see a face where a candle should be. The figure has no head, although it wears a hat. On its body, there are silhouettes of a key, a bird, a glass, and a pipe. These are icons or symbols that had a special meaning for René Magritte. And who but Magritte would paint clouds like that in the background? Think about what you've learned about the artists Marc Chagall and René Magritte. These two artists who painted fantasies had very different personalities, and that shows in their work. Chagall was a man who was easy to know, friendly, and a poet as well as a painter. Magritte was cool and detached, an artist who was intellectual and methodical. He planned every part of each picture very carefully, with each element painted very precisely. Let's see if these clues and the pictures you've just studied will help you identify two paintings by one of the artists and one painting by the other artist. Here you see an empty room with only a fireplace and mantel with two candlesticks beneath a mirror that shows mostly emptiness. Then suddenly we get a big surprise. How could a steam engine burst through the back wall of the fireplace and come chugging into our space? Is it a toy or is it a miniaturized real train? The artist has presented some familiar objects, but he has created an illogical, fantastic combination. Look closely. This is a totally symmetrical arrangement, but seen from one side. The fireplace and the train are skillfully rendered with hard, clean edges and smooth brushwork. The composition, called Time Transfixed, is an example of surrealism. Who painted it? Yes, Rene Magritte. The Juggler is the name of this colorful painting, but what do you think he's juggling? The central figure looks like a circus performer with wings. There's a trapeze artist with a bridal veil suspended high above the audience, and a young girl riding bareback on a horse which seems to be walking on the roof of a house. And you're also sure to recognize some of the other symbols or icons that the artist used in his fantastic paintings. The juggler's unusual head, the blue donkey with a blue lady beside him, the tiny green violinist, and the upside-down clock. The artist must certainly be Marc Chagall. In this painting, it looks like it's raining little gray men. Look closely at the figures. You've seen a similar one in another painting by this artist. These identical, precisely drawn figures are just different sizes and turned in different ways. Perhaps the artist is making fun of the fact that so many men dress the same way, and they probably are identical in the way they think and act, too. The only other thing in this painting, titled Golconda, is the red-roofed building, where the artist has painted all the windows to look very much the same. Who is the artist? Of course, Rene Magritte. That was an easy quiz, wasn't it? Here's another one, maybe a little harder. Use what you've learned so far to identify the painters of 3 more works of art by Marc Chagall and Rene Magritte. The 2 heads of the figures that look down on the city seem to form a heart shape. The figures appear to be very happy. We see again how the artist uses circles and other geometric shapes in his paintings. I'm sure you can identify the city in the painting from its famous landmark buildings, Notre Dame Cathedral and the Eiffel Tower. Of course, it is Paris. And the little village must be the Russian hometown of the artist. With these clues, plus the vibrant colors, surely you recognize the painter of this picture called Sunday as Marc Chagall. The listening room is the unusual name that the artist gave to this painting of an enormous apple inside a room. Or could it be an ordinary apple in a dollhouse room? Whatever room it is in, it certainly makes us feel claustrophobic. Have you noticed the wood floor in the room and how precisely each board has been painted? The window frames and the molding around the ceiling, too, are crisp and have sharp, unwavering edges. And what is to be heard in this listening room? Once again, the artist's imagination and talent have provided us with a brain teaser that we can wonder about or maybe see for ourselves in a wondrous dream. I'm sure you know that this picture was made by Rene Magritte. Around Her is the name of this picture. Notice the sad mood the artist has created. It is mostly blue, suggesting that something sad has happened. The man with the upside-down head is the painter with his palette. Facing him is a woman, perhaps his wife, weeping, her head near a circle that holds a view of a little village in moonlight. A bride and groom, a door with a candle, and an acrobatic angel complete this picture of sadness. But perhaps they're just homesick and are remembering their happy wedding in the little village. Who do you think is the artist? Right. You knew it was Marc Chagall. So far, you've compared and contrasted the works of 2 artists who specialized in painting fantasy. You can probably tell their styles apart with no trouble. Now, let's consider the artwork of a third.